All right, we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Thomas Chen Show, where we feature experts, luminaries, and trailblazers across different industries and movements. Today, we will be discovering about our searchability factor. You see, ladies and gentlemen, being highly searchable will certainly provide us with a wealth of new opportunities and growth. It gives us a competitive advantage regardless of whether we are running our own business, having a corporate career, or in the midst of finding a job. And our guest today will deep dive with us into this topic. He is a former digital director of Standard Chartered Bank, retail banking in Singapore. And as a coach and regional speaker, he ensures that difficult concepts of digital marketing implementations are broken down into simple and implementable and easy steps for his students and mentees. He has been in the information technology, web development, and SEO, social media marketing for more than 20 years. And he also did agency consulting in the areas of customer loyalty, customer retention, and personal data protection. Let's give a very warm welcome to Eugene Tan.
Hi, thanks very much, Thomas, for the wonderful introduction. A warm welcome to everybody, and always am ready to add value to everyone, right? So I am honored to be on this show alongside all the great people that Thomas has interviewed, right? Yes.
Yep, and we are really very excited to have you here today. So perhaps to start off, share a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how has it been thus far?
Yes, so one thing I want to share with everybody is that, if you have one skill set that you want to acquire, I think you can safely say that digital marketing is the skill set that you need, right? Why? Because so that you are able to do some part-time work, like for example, you'll be able to do some like websites. You're able to do websites for people, and right now we are all talking about the gig economy, right? Where everybody, is not sure in the pandemic, is very uncertain, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the job market. And what better way to equip yourself with some digital marketing skills so that you can do something on the side and earn some side income for the family, right? Yeah. So my journey thus far is basically, I actually started as engineering. I studied diploma in electrical, but I didn't quite like it, and all the while I was in the IT line, and I continue to improve myself to learn about how to do websites first, and then I immersed myself into search engine optimization. Did a lot of research over the past 15-20 years, and to really look at what are the methods that actually work. So here's the problem, right? There's a lot of people that are teaching the wrong method that you may try, and you may get searchable, but in the end, your searchability will drop because Google will chase up on you if you do unethical methods. So that's why I spent years researching on search engine optimization, and that's why I'm here to share what does it mean, when how can we actually discover our searchability factor, right? Yeah.
Nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a treat today because we are going to learn from the years of experience, research, and also exploration from Eugene to today's session itself on being searchable. So today is going to be a very exciting session. Do share this live out so that more people can benefit from it. And I do agree with Eugene, regardless of whether we are having our own business, regardless of whether we are having a corporate career or even finding a job, learning about this skill is very important because it will open up new opportunities for you, and we will discuss and deep dive more into that later. All right, so going to the first question itself, that is, what does it mean to be searchable, and how can we measure it?
Yeah, so in this question there's two part, right? How to be searchable and how to measure. So I will first give an intro and then I'll answer on how to be searchable. So being searchable is really one thing, right? What do people see after they search you? That is also important, right? And basically I give you an example. Some property agent used to come to me and say, no, I want to be ranked for property agent Singapore or or private property Singapore. Well, let's get real, right? Yes, you are a property agent based in Singapore, and yes, you are selling private property based in Singapore, but that's not how your audience search. Your audience search basically 4-room apartment Holland Village, for example. So you should be actually looking at all these terms instead of barking the wrong tree, right? So that's why I have also my SEO certification course that I actually teach all these, all these tips and nuggets, because there are people that bark the wrong tree. Does it mean that I'm insurance agent or financial planner? I just want to rank for financial planner Singapore. What about some of the services that you are selling? It is important that people will be searching for retirement planning and stuff like that. This kind of keywords rather than, insurance agent Singapore or property agent Singapore, right? So that is just the intro, right? I mean, being searchable is one thing, but what do people see when people discover that you are you are searchable? What do they see? What is the impression that they see, right? So next we come to this topic about what does it take to be searchable, right? So really, what does it take to be searchable? Basically, you're talking about right now is multi-platform environment. There's website, there's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's Google search. So people can come in all sorts of place. And the first thing that we want to look for in discovering our searchability factor is this thing called branding. And branding, there are two aspects, right? One is branding based on your company perspective. How does people perceive you? Like if you are from AIA, how does AIA branding? Most of the time, that is not your control unless you are running your own company. Then your company branding plays a part as well. And then next is personal branding. A lot of people um, do not focus a lot on personal branding. For example, personal branding, people do look up on you, on your profile on LinkedIn. Are you updated? Is your profile updated? I used to make this mistake years ago. My profile is never updated. It's just few lines of what the jobs. Even there are 5 jobs that was not updated. That means my job history was not even updated. If your job history is not updated, how do people know that you are expert in the field, right? So that's personal branding. For branding, company branding, you need to look deeper, and branding often looks at this important component called design, right? Design, whether it's consistent, whether your website is mobile optimized. Next, we also need to look at market. So if I'm a weight loss business, so I just want to whack weight loss, does it work? It's too big. We are up against people like Guardian Pharmacy and all that, which has so much more money than us. So we need to niche down, right? So we need to find a niche. So your market is weight loss. Your niche will be weight loss for women, for example. But sometimes weight loss for women also, there's a so-called there's a big competition also. So why not you try weight loss for women who has just given birth first, right? Dominate that, and that is called sub niche. Dominate the sub niche, weight loss for women who have just given birth, and then once you dominate weight loss for women who have just given birth, then you can dominate the next niche, which is weight loss for women who wants to get married. So then in that way, slowly when you dominate sub niches, you will dominate the main niche, which is weight loss for women. So that is market, niche, and sub niche. Target audience is very important. A lot of people say, oh no, I just want to target women within this age. But the more specific you can be, the better. Can you map her to your niece, which is which is going to NUS, which has which likes to go to certain restaurants, like to eat Japanese food and all that. The more you can map, the more targeted interest you can target in Facebook, right? So that's target audience. Next is competitor. You must know where they hang out. Not only online but offline. Are they giving brochures? Are they doing location targeting, whereby they're giving brochures, people scan the QR code, come in for a free cup of coffee? Are they doing that? So you need to look deeper than that, right? Next, we come to the very important thing, which is copywriting. That's why if you are searchable, what do people see? And copywriting plays a very important part. And copywriting is normally translated to the market, target audience, and competitors, and how they also try to conquer the market. Now, next thing I want to talk about, this is really ridiculous, right? So I want to open a bubble tea shop. Is the common things that we ask, sometimes our friends say. But there are so many bubble tea shops, right? So this is what we call Me Too business. Other people open, I also want to open, but you are late in the game, right? You don't have the first mover advantage. Instead of thinking of a Me Too business, think about how you can open a first mover advantage business where you can come in and consolidate the market. And last of all, the most important thing is keywords. Keywords. People use keywords even on social media. A lot of people don't realize that. People use keywords on social media. People use keywords on Google. People use keywords on YouTube. And keywords, there is such a thing called buying keywords or keywords with commercial intent, right? What does it mean? Property agent Singapore is not a keyword with strong buying intent, but like 4-room apartment in Holland. Chances are when people type 4-room apartment in Holland, they are ready to buy. That is the thing. So a lot of people, when they whack SEO, they just whack SEO, just anyhow whack keywords. Before you anyhow whack keywords, you need to know what are the keywords that people are searching for. So in a nutshell, how do you be searchable on platforms? Branding, design, knowing the market niche and sub-niche, knowing your target audience and mapping it to a person, competitors, where they hang out, what are they doing, copywriting, write the right lingo for the right crowd. Do not do Me Too business. Instead, try to do first mover advantage, and identifying the right keywords for buying keywords. Next, we come to measurement, right? Measurement is also quite interesting. For measurement, we are looking at two things essentially: tangible and intangible. So what do I mean by this? Any branding or brand mention kind of activity is intangible, because it takes 5 exposure to a brand before people remember you, right? So there is also the intangible aspect and the tangible aspect. So why do we do branding? Is to move people to know you, and then to like you, and then to trust you, and then to buy, and then after that to shout about you, right? So if, for example, if people who encounter this interview, people will say that, oh, Thomas Chen Show is very interesting, have a lot of interesting speakers that he bring in. So basically your authority goes up, right? So similarly, when people hear me giving advice, people know that, oh, this is the guy, this is like the searchable coach, this is the SEO coach, this guy knows his stuff, right? Because through the sharing that I do. So next, here's another problem, right? That most companies do. They engage one company for website, one company for social media, one company for ads. So in that sense, the person that is managing these 3 companies, they also do not know a lot about digital marketing, and they leave it to the hands of all these companies that they outsource. And the problem is that the marketing activities become very fragmented. What we need to do is we need to approach omni-channel marketing approach for one campaign, meaning to say that the same message during the same period is across the different platforms because people consume content differently. Some people like video, some people more inclined to read text, some people like pictorial, you know, some people like social media updates, some people will consume Facebook updates, some people like to watch YouTube videos, right? And of course, the most important thing about measurement is you need to have Google Analytics and you need to know how many people visit your website. And not only Google Analytics, you need to have traffic attribution. For example, if your campaign has a Facebook ads and Google ads, do you know how many people land on your website from Google and how many from Facebook, right? And also, importantly, you need to measure this user behavior on the homepage. So one interesting thing that we did for our client, which is the e-commerce website, so we installed this thing called Hotjar, and basically Hotjar is able to record video video recording of people that visit your homepage and what they do. And then
Wow.
and then what we realized was that our this specific client had a whole section on featured products. These are the products that they hope that people buy. But when we install this tool, we realized that nobody actually clicked on that section. So that becomes a problem. And if we didn't install this tool, that will be our blind spot, you see. Yeah. So I hope that this sharing from this has been useful. Yeah, over to you, man, Thomas.
Wow, definitely. That is really full of insights, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who just joined us, if you missed the part that Eugene just mentioned, make sure to watch the replay because he have mentioned so much gems that I'll do a short summary right now. So those who just joined us can capture the essence of it. So right at the start, right, what Eugene established is that many of us just brand ourselves as our occupation. You know, you can be a speaker, a financial advisor, website designer, digital marketer, but people will want to search for the service rather than the occupation. They want to search for the outcome rather than the occupation. For example, someone who is a graphic designer, instead of just putting yourself as a graphic designer, what do you provide? High resolution designs, designs of property or floor mat whatsoever, so that you can attract the target audience. And another thing that I love, which Eugene mentioned, is not to go onto the Me Too trend, but try to find the first mover advantage trend. And it is even possible for heavily saturated industries. For example, real estate agents, financial advisors, network marketer. There will be differentiation point which will make you the first mover. Perhaps it's your target audience, perhaps it's the process you use, perhaps it's the qualifications you have even. So you want to use that to your advantage and make yourself a first mover, or else you will be just like any others in the market as well. So those are very amazing points. And I also love how we should track, the metrics, such as the people visiting our site, such as the conversion rate, because at the end of the day, what you can measure, you can track, and what you can track, you can improve. It is a journey about improvement itself. And I think Eugene have captured the essence of all of it. So I see more and more of you coming in. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are here with us, do say hi, do say hello, so that we can interact with you accordingly. And if you have any questions, do input into the chat so that we can give as much value as we can. And of course, do share this live out, give it lots of thumbs up so that more people can learn and benefit from it. Today is going to be a very enlightening session, right? So earlier on, we mentioned about some of the strategies to be more searchable, right, Eugene? So
Yes.
in terms of the strategies to implement, how do you recommend people to know or to decide which strategy is suitable for them or which strategies they should try out first? Because there are so many different strategies, so many different platforms. So sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming. So for someone who just started out, what are some of your recommendations? How should they first embark on this journey?
For the most one thing we must understand is what does it mean to be searchable, right? And basically being searchable is searchable on the map, searchable in images, YouTube, and social media, right? And basically search engine optimization enable you to even outrank competitors that are years ahead of you. And there are some competitors that have inferior product, but they still rank. You can rank this. Just to give just to put things in context, I actually started a lorry rental business last year, right? And that was truly through SEO, and we were able to outrank those people that are, you know, that are, you know, years ahead, right? And why being searchable is important also, right? Because, you know, we need to ensure that we are visible, uh, and 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 normally the top three um, gets clicked, right? So now we go more on the on kind of the strategies, right? So firstly we have to understand, right, the whole how does search engine come about, right? Yahoo came about in 1994. Google came 4 years later in 1998. So what did Google stay ahead of the game? What did Google do, right? Google bought technologies, more than one company a week in 2010 and 2011, right? That is amazing, right? And this is what we call Google love Google concept, which I actually coined. So basically, we need to look at what are the companies that Google bought, and whether are we there, is our business there. So for example, a lot of people dismiss that YouTube is important, but it is proven that YouTube videos can rank in organic Google search, right? So next thing also that Google did to make them relevant is they did a series of algorithm updates, right? And because at that point in time people were trying to cheat the system, so they roll out like Google Panda in February 2011. That is to cater to people over optimizing content and spamming keywords. Next is Google Penguin in April 2012. They actually address people trying to get unauthorized links to their website, right? Then over time, there's Google Hummingbird, Google Pigeon, Google RankBrain to handle different things. So now back to the golden question that you asked, right? How to be, what, you know, how to start this being searchable, right? So firstly, being searchable on the Google search, being searchable, we need to know what are the buying keywords, and we need to optimize our website, our structure, how we structure our content, on page SEO, and the relevant links that we bring. So that will give you domination on Google search. Next, we Google image search. Google image search, basically sometimes you see, when you search, you see certain images appear. So how do you can do is that you can actually label your image to certain keywords, and then before that you just use Photoshop to put your handphone number if you're a property agent, or your website, right? So that when your image appear on Google page one, people know who to contact, rather than the image not having the contact number or website, right? Next, YouTube search is very important, right? A lot of people think, wow, YouTube videos is very difficult. Hello, you, as long as you have product images, right? There are free software available that you can just do a YouTube. You can just do an image slideshow video. It's not very difficult, right? There are free tools that you can do. You can even put music in, right? So it's not that difficult. First YouTube video is done, and then you just optimize accordingly. You optimize your video title, your video description, your video file name as well, and the tag and necessary, and then basically why YouTube is important, because YouTube, there's a twofold benefit of being on YouTube. Number one, so that you can dominate the YouTube search. Number two, so that you can dominate Google search. So YouTube is important. Next is Google Map. You need to be found on Google Map, right? And what better way, and what easy way, and it's free. You have to so-called list yourself on this Google My Business. Google give you a Google My Business. You list yourself on Google My Business. Google verify by sending a postcard to your address, and then once it get approved, that's it. You are listed for life, and you appear on maps. And being searchable on social, as what we talk about, is all about hashtags. It's all about the relevant keywords that people search for, and there you are done. You need to be searchable on all these platforms, you see. Yeah.
Wow, very, very nice. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, so to put it into context, right, whenever you want to, employ a service, and assuming that in your social circle you do not know anyone who provide that service, chances are you will search it online, right? Be it Google, be it Facebook, or even YouTube. And that's why it is important that if we are the provider of the service, right, we are at the top of the search itself, because that will allow people to see that, hey, this is the one which provides the service, check it out first. And like what Eugene mentioned earlier, top 3 ranking, very, very important. Immediate, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you actually go to page 2, page 3, page 4 of Google to find the service? Not many, right? Most of us will actually just be on the first page itself. And that's why it is very important to be ranked, to be searchable, so that people know that you provide the service. And as what Eugene has mentioned, these different platforms, you can have different strategies for you to be searchable. For those of you who have a website, perhaps it's more of the SEO side. Those of you who social media, perhaps it's more of the hashtags. Those of you who have YouTube videos and account, perhaps it is more of the title, etc. So these are all the different areas that you want to look into, so that you get more visibility and searchability when it comes to your business itself. Very, very nice. So, Eugene, a very common objection that people have before they embark on this journey of becoming searchable, right, is they would think that it is very time, energy, and resource intensive. They need to spend a lot of time creating the content, need to find the backlinks, etc. What are your thoughts about that? And are there efficient strategies for us to employ so that it is not so resource intensive to become searchable?
Yes, definitely there is. I would say work within a team, especially if it's a in-house team, right? That you are quite challenged in all this. So what you can do is you can map out that there are some days you work on your SEO of your website. There are some days that you schedule your social media, but making sure that whatever you do, that you are building on the SEO. So for example, if you are uploading image on Google Photos and all that, make sure you rename to the keywords and things like that, right? So here's the problem, right? Like what I said, right? The companies, they engage 4 different companies to manage, like for example, website, social media and ads and Google ads, right? So there's a problem whereby the marketing person that is handling this is normally not properly trained, or they are fresh grads. They let the company propose independently, and what we call this is a very fragmented marketing approach, because the SEO guy will want to try to gain keywords in certain direction, but the ads guy may want to earn keywords in different direction, because they are all different companies and they don't talk to each other, right? So in the end, you end up multi-channel approach. So multi-channel approach is like, sometimes I wish I post on Facebook, I run ads on Facebook. Sometimes I wish I run Google ads, that kind of thing. That is called multi-channel, right? That's why it's very important to coordinate. Even if you are a small team, it's very important to coordinate your efforts. What is the most simple way to get yourself searchable, right? The most simple way, basically, you need to make sure that you have a listing on Google My Business, so that you are searchable on the maps. You need to try to get at least a YouTube channel with, let's say, 5 videos minimum, right? And you will optimize your YouTube channel, right? So that is bare minimum that you can do. Yes, it's resource intensive, but that's why you need to progressively, every day build on something, but you make sure that you have a very structured approach as to how you want to, what is your end game, what's your SEO end game, right? And basically SEO, there are many aspects, right? There are some days where you will work on the on-page content, which means that you optimize your page on your website. There are some days you work on getting links, like, let's say, maybe you have an interesting event coming up, maybe you can get the press to to kind of outreach and give you free coverage. That is press release is the best way to get credibility, right? And then some that for some activities you may choose social influencer, right? Social media influencer to help you sell your thing. But if you're doing that, if you're e-commerce social media influencer, make sure each influencer have a unique voucher code so that their followers, if they check out, at least you can identify which social media influencer is the most effective for your company, and then you can reuse this influencer. You see, yeah. So there's some tips.
Very, very nice. All right, so we have quite a number of audience here, which I noticed they are employees. They are working for a company, they have a corporate job. And what I notice nowadays is more and more people are becoming what I would call intrapreneur. Means they work for a company, but they have an entrepreneurial mindset. They have their own website, their LinkedIn, they do until everything very robust, everything very nice, and also they have their own personal branding. So for this group of people who are not running their own businesses, but they are having that entrepreneurial mindset, they want to establish a stronger position in their specialized field, what are your recommendations to them? Should they also have a website? Should they do their LinkedIn in a way that is very professional, that's very engaging, or maybe they can even do some sharing on YouTube as well to build their personal brand?
So I think I think you brought a like a very important point. Of course, the one of the things that I've been neglecting for many years is my LinkedIn, and also for many years also YouTube. Having said that, it does take some time to really update your LinkedIn. Probably you probably need like 3 hours and trying to think, what are your last 5 jobs. Sometimes you don't have you don't keep track, and sometimes you have to refer to your resume to translate. So basically, when people see your LinkedIn, they don't need to see your resume. It's all there. What are the clients? So how I update my LinkedIn is this. Okay, company work. These are the clients that I do, and for these clients I do this job. So it becomes very client centric. It's not a very conventional way to update LinkedIn. Normally when people say, oh, I'm at this company, these are the tasks that I do, they don't really list down the clients. But I think this approach is good because when people see, then they can associate you with serving certain clients, and that will give you an added credibility. On YouTube, it is challenging, right? It is challenging, but you do not give up. So you continue to continue to roll out videos. I think for YouTube, in my own personal experience, once you have about 50-60 videos, you will find that your videos start to show up on YouTube, because it's like I would like to see it as a SEO, right? So roughly your website, if you have 50 pieces of optimized content, your website will start to rank for that particular niche. So similarly for YouTube, it's about 50-60 videos, right? So it's a lot. So what you can do is, on your way to work, I used to do this, right? I had a last time I had a full-time job, but I had a passion of helping people doing online marketing. I've got my own online marketing group, and I used to, on my way to work, just take the handphone just take handphone and just record a short video for the community, and then just upload it. Best is, one of the benefit of short videos is you just take and shoot, right? You don't have to do video editing. Video editing in YouTube is the worst and most time consuming for sure, right? Because actually you have to if you are really very particular about your personal brand, then you have to edit out the and all this that you talk. And sometimes you get very irritated because you actually have a lot of awkward pauses in your speech, you see. Yeah, but as a start, yeah, do YouTube and do some social media sharing as well, right? Yeah.
Very nice. Also, how about for those of us who are maybe camera shy or maybe video shy, right? Are they able to have other alternative ways to optimize their searchability, maybe through writing articles or through pictures and photos, not videos, but pictures and photos? Are these viable ways for them to optimize their searchability as well?
Yes, so definitely articles, definitely writing articles on LinkedIn, writing articles on medium.com, building your presence in medium.com in a specific industry does help, right? But also that takes time. So what you can do is in fact, the beauty of it now is also we have all this social media scheduler, right? Of course you have to pay a monthly kind of subscription, but you can write a piece of content and you can straight away post it on LinkedIn, straight away post it on Facebook page, personal profile, and all this all at one go. So it really saves you the hassle, right, of having to post each individual social media, right? So make use of all these tools to do that. Yes, article is the greatest way, right, to gain credibility. Yeah. Or start a blog, start a blog and consolidate all your articles there, right?
Very nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 40 minutes in and we are learning so much already. So if you are here with us, once again, say hi, say hello, so that we can interact with you accordingly. I see some audience comments coming in. Keep them coming in. And if you have any questions, do input into the chat so that we can give as much value as we can. And if you find today's session beneficial, share it out, give it lots of thumbs up so that more people can learn from it. All right, so just to get things right, Eugene, from what I hear, right, every different social media platform like LinkedIn, YouTube, all this, as long as we work on them, right, it will help to boost our Google searchability as well. Is it true, or does it have a connection?
Okay, so this has been kind of confirmed many years ago by the Google spokesman, Matt Cutts, right? He's no longer in Google, but what he said is that at that point in time, he said that Google are looking at what we call social signals to determine the back link. That means the link back to your website. So I can record a video and say, go to my blog to read, right? So at that point in time they were considering, but this was easily 10-15 years ago. Definitely we have seen, even sometimes we do see Facebook page posts appearing on page one. So it is definitely that Google are giving Facebook that kind of so-called prominence. But the only difference is that probably groups, content in Facebook groups are not really that indexable. But if it's a Facebook page, it's okay. Yeah, normally you will have a short blip, and then you link to your article, right? Then people read to your blog, right? So all those linking to the article all helps. These are called backlinks, right, to the article. And you rather get all these articles than pay the guy, yeah, Fiverr $5. He tell you he can get you like 80 articles, and before you know it, you'll discover that some of your links actually come from pornographic websites, and that will be a problem, right, in terms of credibility and authority. Yeah.
Right. So because this part is a little bit technical, so just wanted to get it even clearer. So while we work on all these different platforms, it is great that we have a website still for us to link all these platforms back to the website. And can this website be in other forms, such as perhaps a LinkedIn page or a Facebook page, for those of us who are not so keen to start our own website or not well versed in creating our own website itself? Is it still important to have a website, or for those group of people who are really not comfortable with having a website, their LinkedIn page can be a substitute for it?
Well, here's the thing, right? LinkedIn, the catchment is only within the LinkedIn community. When you have a website, and if you have a website being shared on Facebook, your website is being shared on LinkedIn, your website is being shared on Instagram, you get a wider catchment, right? So generally, yes, you probably need to to get a website going. There are simple hosted solution that is already hosted. Then you can even hook your domain up. I mean, one example is WordPress.com, right? So you can actually um, host your website without the technicalities, and you can just continue to do like a blogging. But of course, a lot of people prefer that they have their own website because of one reason. It is mainly for control, right? The problem is for social media. Remember, there was a Facebook outage, and that's the thing. If your business is very reliant on social media, and if it's a Facebook outage, what happens? So of course, as you are blogging it, of course, if you have more bandwidth, you need to consider to get people on a mailing list that you can mail them once a month. Like for example, Thomas Chen Show. When is it? You can actually email this group of people. Then at least when you get on your email list, these are your definite followers, right? So it's like kind of like a pat on the back to say, oh, I do so much, I've got now 500 followers or something like that, right? Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. Generally, yes, it would be good to have your own website, but there are people that just technically challenged to set up a website. Then the next best thing is to go to WordPress.com and hook up a domain there. Yeah.
Very, very nice. Right. So we have talked a lot about searchability and its influence on inbound sales or inbound inquiries. But will it somewhat influence, or how does it tie in with perhaps more outbound sales? People going out to share about their services and products. Can somehow being searchable influence the success of the area as well?
That's for sure. So just give you some relatable personal experience. So I've been churning content on YouTube and basically um sharing my content on social media, on Facebook and all that. So what happened was that there was a guy that it was a acquaintance. I've not met him personally, and he actually texted me and said, no, hey, I would like to introduce you to a brand manager of a electronics company. And in the end, I actually met up with the brand manager of the electronics company, and we were able to do social media and digital marketing for it. So that kind of shocked me, although I am teaching this. Right, when you are teaching this, that all this branding works. But when you personally experience it, then you have that euphoria moment. Like say, oh yes, this works. So I used to do also a Facebook live for church, right? So before the church service ends, I was taking all the food that they had. Yeah, they had like a fun fair, so I was taking the food that they had, and there was this lady that she turned the pot and she says, I got kong bak pao. And I say, oh, okay, you got kong bak pao. So then after that I interview all the stores. Then while the service is running, I did a quick edit on my phone, right, using iMovie. Quickly get it out on social. Once the service finished, and once the first service crowd finished, I went to this lady that sells the kong bak pao, and she said all her kong bak pao sold out. So here's the thing, right? We know that social media works, but only when we encounter this, then we know that it really works, because it's a personal experience, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to share this thing, right? Because it was funny, and I was like really impressed by by the reality of it, right? Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. All right, we do have a question from one of the audience. Most social links are no follow, right? Do they pass authority?
Well, in the area of authority, yes, they are no follow. They do not pass authority. But basically, in the context of people on social media that you could not get otherwise from organic search, people from social are clicking through to your website, then in that sense you are getting traffic in this way, not really in the backlinks way. But backlinks play a part, because they also consider as a sort of like a voting mechanism as well. The more your links are being mentioned on social, Google do take into consideration. But it's more so from the catchment of the social media audience that otherwise you could not catch from SEO, that they are clicking through. That plays a part, you see. Yeah.
Right. So for those of us who are less technical in this area, what's the meaning of no follow?
So no follow basically is kind of like a label, right? That you tell the search engine, this is a link, but you do not follow, right? So most social media, they will have most of the links, outbound links, as in links other than the social media links of Facebook.com, they are by default set as no follow, because they do not want people to abuse their authority of social media. But having said that, because the social media is also an important and authoritative site, and people from social media can click through to you, so that's why you can, otherwise you can, by marketing on social, you can actually unlock the audience that otherwise you could not have reached, right? Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that is how all the funnels and the marketing, digital marketing, they often link it to another ClickFunnels site or a website itself from the social media page, because they run ads there. So I think that is the linkage right there. Yeah, very nice.
Very good question, by the way. Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah, awesome. Someone who has been there also. So this is a bit already. So you dive in a little bit more. So nowadays, right, we see a lot of different platforms, website, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So sometimes it may be a little bit overwhelming, especially for someone who is a solopreneur, or someone who maybe even in SME, they may find it a little bit overwhelming. So if they want to start their effort, right, which platform do you recommend them to start from first? And then how do they work through?
Well, it's not really about like which platform to start, right? Firstly, you need to identify the market niche and sub niche, and then you need to know who is your target audience, what is their age range, right? If your target audience is younger, right, then probably you might want to consider Instagram as the important. So I give you an example. Let's say Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Out of three, you can only do two, and you are trying to make a decision to drop something. So if generally, if your business is a B2C, generally you will drop LinkedIn, generally, right? But even said that, how do you know which is more priority? If your audience is of a younger crowd, then Instagram it is, right? That you need to have Instagram no matter what. And here you need to know, for younger millennials, they are always on the go. They consume content very fast. They want content to be short, sharp, 3 minutes video. That's it. Don't give me the long ass like 15 minutes video. I have no time for that, right? So again, you need to know your audience, and then also decide and tailor which one. Of course, maybe you may choose to do Instagram first, because you are one man show. Then do Instagram first, right? Then maybe maybe you consider Facebook, or in a way nowadays there's all this auto posting software, right? So actually it doesn't make a difference, right? Whatever that you design on Instagram, you can actually post it on Facebook as well, using using a software like Hootsuite, right? Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm aware of all this auto posting software, but what I realize, I'm not sure whether it's true or not, it will affect the engagement level. Am I right to say that? Or
There is some truth in that. Yeah, definitely. Of course, ideally is for you to post organically, as in go to Facebook and post, go to Insta and post. But that will mean that your posting time will be times two lah. So
true.
yeah, so if you take 5 minutes, then that means 5 minutes for Insta, 5 minutes for Facebook. That's 10 minutes already. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
And sometimes it can be too time draining because we still have other parts of the business to run as well. Yep.
Yes, and then also sometimes you take some time to get the copy, right? Because you need to make sure that you get the copy right.
Right.
You know, the it sounds right, and then you reread at least 3-4 times. I'm sure that that happens to you as well, right? You want to make sure the correctness of the info that you put out, right?
Yes, certainly. All right. So we mentioned that there are a few mistakes, common mistakes that people make in this journey of trying to be more searchable. One of the mistakes that was mentioned earlier is that they have different people to help them in different areas of the marketing itself. One on SEO, one on website building, one on digital marketing, and because it is so separated, right? They may have different end goals and end results, and in the end, it's a waste of resource. So what are some other common mistakes that you see people make in their journey of becoming searchable?
Well, one of the common mistake is trusting the SEO company. I'm running a SEO company, but I do say this. Okay, whoever that's watching this, who wants to make 5,000 with only 30 minutes of work, please type 5,000 in the chat now. I will share
Right.
with you later.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Instantly.
5,000.
Type 5,000 in the chat here. We want to see it going, right? Come on. More. We want to see more people putting the comment.
Right.
I haven't checked the comment yet. How's the comment like?
Yeah, it's great. But a lot of silent watcher lah. So
anybody write 5,000 or you don't write 5,000, I'm not gonna share.
I write Kennedy, but I'm sure a lot of people are interested in knowing that.
Yes. So here's the thing, right? There are SEO companies that tell you that you pay me, for example, $5,000. I will get your company to be ranked on Google page 1. Company name to be ranked on Google page 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a $5,000 advice. How to get company name ranked on Google page 1? You just need to list your client on Google My Business. That's it. The company name will automatically rank on Google page 1 without even the need of a website. So that's what I mean, that you can get 5,000 with 30 minutes of work to set up the Google My Business and optimize the Google My Business for the client. So there are a lot of all these unscrupulous SEO company. So I mean, this is meant as a joke, right? Trusting the SEO company, but it's real, right? There are SEO companies that says, I can make your company name searchable. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, your company name was registered 1 month ago in Accra. Apart from Accra, who else know your company name? I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm trying to say? Because your company name was registered 1 month ago, nobody knows your company name. Your company name does not exist in the market. Then let me ask you, who will then search for your company name? Nobody. So why is the SEO company ranking your company name? That is the question that you need to ask. Instead, they should be ranking your services, not your company name, right?
Wow, that's a very amazing point. So ladies and gentlemen, those of you, I see quite a number of you typing in 5,000. Now you know the malpractices that I would say a lot of companies are doing, because they achieve what we so-called want, but that's not the exact results that will really give us more business. Because our company name is unique by itself. Naturally, when we search it on Google, it will come out first. But what we want is the service we provide, our company name linked to it, our company name being the first to pop up whenever someone search for that service. So I see a website designer right here, someone who searched for website design, her name will be the first one up. That is what we want to achieve. What we want to achieve is not our business company name being the top, but whenever someone search for the service we provide, then our company name is the top. That is the right result that we want to achieve. Am I right to say so, Eugene?
Yes, that's right? And please, ladies and gentlemen, please don't use this to con other companies. I'm just using this as an example, all right? And then of course we will move on some of the common mistakes, but I guess I guess this is something interesting. I just want to make a joke out of it, but in reality, this is happening. In reality, companies are conned into paying $5,000 to get their company name searchable on the internet, but they are a new company. Nobody will search for them, right? So next point that we look at, right, is actually everybody is guilty on it, not updating enough on social media and your website, right? So you have a website, you good enough, you have all your products and services, that's it, good enough, right? That's one thing, not updating enough information. The market doesn't know you. You don't get traction for your social media. Your Facebook page won't get that kind of organic growth when compared to if you're updating regularly. Next is the is the is the so-called the sin of using the wrong social media. So here again, there are people that they updating Facebook page. They think that, oh, Instagram is not for me, but actually their crowd is a younger crowd, where it's on Instagram, and hardly on Facebook, or almost none on Facebook. Then you are using the wrong social media for your business, right? Because you need to identify the audience persona. That's why it's very important to identify the market niche, sub niche, and the audience persona before you decide on how you're going to brand yourself, how you're going to design, and what are the colors to use, right? And things like that. Next, also, this problem is inherent in interior design companies. Interior design companies have website with very awesome photos, very little text, T-E-X-T. If you have very little text, how can you rank on search engine optimization? You can't. You can't. And also, your beautiful image acts against you, because your beautiful image takes forever to load. And Google do consider their website load speed and mobile optimization and secure SSL layer as the important ranking factor. So if your website loads too slow, you don't have text, you cannot rank on SEO, then how? Next is also you are not on like Google My Business. That's what I say, right? Google gives you a free tool that you can appear on the map, right? Why are you not using it, right? Why? All you need to do is just verify using a postcard. If you have a valid business with a valid address, why are you not claiming your Google My Business, right? And that is the simplest way to rank your company name. You don't even need a website. Once you get listed and approved, your Google My Business is approved, postcard verified, you automatically will rank for your company name in Google My Business. Next, we also talk about the YouTube, right? You're not having a presence on YouTube. YouTube is very difficult to do. Is it very difficult to do? You have a couple of images. You just do an image slideshow. You can do 5 videos in like 1 hour. Seriously, right? So what's so difficult? Right? So these are some of the like kind of the common mistakes, we will say.
Yeah, very nice. And I think I also come across one of my friend who used this strategy of uploading a lot of videos on her YouTube channel. And if I'm not wrong, right, it's not about the views, right? It is putting it on the channel so that they can optimize the SEO itself, right? Of course, for people who do YouTube full-time, getting an income from there, perhaps it's about the views. But for the rest of us, right, we can use that as a searchability tool. Putting a lot of video doesn't mean to have a lot of views, but it helps us with our searchability. Am I right to say so as well?
Yes, it does help on your searchability, because especially you see, here's another thing, right? When people put up on YouTube, they just have the misconception that, oh, I just have videos up on YouTube, that's it, I'll auto rank. That's not the thing. There is a process. First, you need to identify, like, for example, what is your buying keyword. Your buying keyword, then you search on the YouTube bar, and then you see whether does it appear. If it does appear, then you do a video on it. Your video name has to be renamed the keyword.mp4 before you upload on YouTube. Your video title has to have the keyword. Your description has to have the keyword. Your tag has to have the keyword. Once you optimize all this, and your channel must be talking about, you have the channel description and all that. YouTube video description is up to 5,000 characters. A lot of people just put 100 character, that's it. You're not using fully utilized to SEO video per video. So if you do all this optimization for YouTube, definitely your YouTube video will rank. Yeah.
Very, very nice. All right, so back to the second mistake of not uploading enough content, right? So the golden question is, how much and how regular should we upload content? And to those people who may not be having so much creative juice to, constantly have new content. For example, someone who is maybe owning a bakery, right? They just have that number of cakes. How can they constantly upload new content? And especially words and text related content, not just picture, but text related content.
Now here's the thing, right? Content does not necessarily needs to be churned out by us, right? I give you an example. I'm an SEO coach. I teach people SEO, how to be searchable. One of the well-known guys in the SEO space is Neil Patel. So for example, Neil Patel could have come out with a very nice article. So what I do is I actually share his article on social media, but I give the bleep is my own opinion. My opinion can agree, can concur with him, or can slightly differ with him. And that is where, when you do that, when you share an expert opinion and you further expound on what the experts say, that is how you build your expertise. Because basically all you need to do is you don't have to think what to write. The guy has right. So all you need to do is think whether you agree or not agree, and how you're gonna structure your social media bleep, right? So that is one key question in case we all get keyword block, right? So similarly for videos, right, there are some opinion leaders that say certain thing. So I give you one example, right? There is one very established trainer that says, okay, after people have bought my course, I used to offer lifetime value. That means, for example, if my course, this lady trainer, she says, if my course is 197, I used to give people lifetime access for my course, 197 lifetime. But then she recently said that it's not fair, because those people that 197 that bought 3 years ago, and then recently I did a massive revamp, these guys should not have access to this course anymore. It shouldn't be lifetime. It should be 1 year. So that
Sounds like Vanessa Lau.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So that was an opinion, and there was one guy called Graham that actually came up with a video and why he think lifetime access should be upheld based on his own opinion. So that is an example. It's not directly kind of going against, but basically is to also build your authority on why you think is that way, and then you also build your credibility that way. Yeah.
So for this kind of giving opinions about other people's view, about experts' view and content, we do this on our social media platforms, or do we put it on our website, or do we do a video review, or all of the above?
So actually, it can be all of the above. But again, sometimes people are overwhelmed. But be very careful when you are treading the line on social, political kind of thing. I think try not to do that because that might get you into trouble and stuff like that. But it is important. Like recently, the NOC saga, Sylvia. I did my take on it, right? Sylvia NOC, and I did my take on it, and basically I'm not criticizing or anything, but I just record a video on why why this Sylvia NOC saga is not a very good idea from the personal branding perspective, right? So I just gave that perspective, and I was shocked, right, when I launched, and then within 3 days, within 5 days, I've got 4,500 views of that video. So sometimes you will look at certain trending topics and you see whether you want to give an opinion of it. right? Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great strategy. In fact, a lot of famous YouTuber, right? They reach to that stardom because they use this technique. They give reviews about trending topic, such as Wishi, such as sneaky sushi. They leverage on these trends, right, to give their opinions. And from there, because people are searching about it on YouTube, this is the hot topic right now. So their videos will also pop up, and that's how they get viewership. That's how they get the following as well. But when we use this kind of content, right, a question I would like to ask is that do we need to put any like disclaimer or give a credit? How should we tread on this carefully?
I think I think generally it had to be clearly stated that it's our opinion. That's for sure. And you know recently I was watching this guy that he was doing critique of every video of every music, right? He had like his video was like this music, like so it can be Abba or something. Then he said he's listening for the first time. Then I was thinking, where is this guy hiding all these famous song he never hear? Is it he purposely say that his first time listening? Cannot be, right? But basically he did give his own take. So as long as anybody just say that I'm just giving my own take on it, right? I think generally we'll be safe. But having said that, that's why I say stay away from political stuff. Yeah, really have to stay away.
Right. Very, very nice. All right, Eugene, it's an hour and we have learned so much from you. I'm sure we can learn even more from you. So if we would love to connect with you, if we want to learn more from you, how can we do so?
Yeah, so I've got my YouTube channel. I got my YouTube channel. It is at letter I, letter M, SEO king.com. So letter I, letter M, SEOking.com. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel. The other way that you can connect is I've got a community of 800 digital marketing practitioners, and that's a Telegram group at t.me slash SEO numeric 4B. t.me slash SEO 4B. Right, so that's my Telegram. So do join me. I hope that is interesting. I will put the comments there on the video so that you guys can follow me. It's awesome for this opportunity. Really, Thomas, thank you, man.
No, appreciate your sharing. So ladies and gentlemen, all the social media platform of Eugene is already in the post, so make sure to check him out. And he also have an SEO course, which is Skills Future accredited, and you can actually use your Skills Future to learn more about SEO. And this is something I will highly encourage all of you, because as we have established from today's sharing itself, being searchable is very important, regardless of whether you own a business, whether you have a corporate career, or you are in the midst of finding a job. Being searchable will certainly open new doors and allow you to receive more opportunities. So also check out his course. For those of you who have Skills Future credit, you can actually use it to apply for his course, and you can learn more about that. So once again, a very big thank you everyone for being here today. Hope that this session has been of value add to you. And of course, a very big thank you to Eugene for his very generous sharing. I have learned so much, and I'm going to implement some of these strategies right away. So thank you everyone. See all of you. Take care. Stay safe. Good night.
Thanks.